So you've obviously seen the thumbnail, so you know the state of the seat. It's from a Harley. The owner has chopped down this back end here, so the seat pan isn't how it should be. It should obviously be a little bit longer. So he's cut down this bit here and completely chopped away the foam and made a right mess of it. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to remove the foam that's here and rebuild this seat. Now he wants the original cover, which is here, to actually fit this new foam. So I'm going to have to take all of this apart. I think mainly he wants the Harley bit that's here transplanted and this fabric here that's in the centre. So I'll have to take all of this apart, get it on the bench flat, and then see what I can cut out and position where. This is the front end and the bit he chopped off is the back end. What I'll actually do is I'll actually smooth this off as well, because it'll just cut through the foam if I leave it as it is. So I'm going to remove the pink foam and just see what's underneath. We have a chip foam underneath it. I'm also going to drill out all these rivets properly. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to soak all this in white spirits for now and just get rid of all the glue and start properly from scratch. It's always the best way to do it. If you ever do a job like this, then trying to stick onto somebody's crap is not the best way. It's always best to start from scratch. I'll also sand down the edges so they're a bit smoother so they don't cut through the vinyl. While I'm waiting for the white spirits to do its thing, take about 10-15 minutes for the white spirits to soak into the glue. I'll drill the rivets out. Now that I've got my blank canvas, I'm going to reapply some foam. So I'm going to use two different kinds of foam. I'm going to use chip foam, but the chip foam that was on here was quite a hard chip foam. So chip foam comes in soft, medium and hard. What I took off was a hard. I'm going to replace that with a medium, and then I'm going to put a softer foam on top for comfort. So I'm going to put a scrim foam over the top so it evens out any imperfections that are in the foam. There shouldn't be many, because of the way I'm going to do it. So I'll get the chip foam out, I'll place this on top, I'll draw a rough shape of the foam that I need to cut, and then I will bevel the edges where I need to bevel. So on the sides here I'll bevel the edges. He wants this front end to be quite high, so I will overcut that and then I can shape that later if I need to, and I'll bevel this edge here so it's not quite steep on the back end. It'll still be steepish, but I'll just bevel the edge from probably about here, just so it slopes in a little bit. So that's just a rough shape. Doesn't have to be perfect for now, it's just got to be a bit bigger than I need it, and then I'll place it on to the seat palm, and then I can shape it properly, cut it to the right shape, do all the beveling. I'll offer it up before I glue it, make sure it's all correct. I'll glue it in place. If I need to cut anything away after that, I can do when it's glued in place. And then I will put on the softer foam, the foam for comfort. I've just drawn this line here. This is where my bevel's going to come to. That's my bevel. Now the bevel is going to go on the underside, so like that. That's absolutely fine there. What I will do, because he wants this upstand here, or this bit at the front, to be a little bit bigger, so I'll use a piece of this. I'll put that in there, and that'll just make that a little bit prouder. Mark this back end here. I need to reshape this. Now that it's on, sometimes that's the way it is. So the front end is fine. The back end I'm not completely happy with. We're too wide. We're fine at this point here in the centre, but as we come to the back, that needs to be shaped a little bit more. So I will redraw that in there. Redraw that in there, redraw that in there. Double check. 15, 15. Okay, so I'm happy with that. So I'll now glue my piece in for the front, which is here, and then I can glue the main bit of foam on top of that. Let that glue, I'll just let that glue cure for a little bit, and then I'll glue this bit of foam into here. Okay, happy enough with that. I don't want it to touch yet, I just want to get it in position. Right, we're now in position at the front. So that's a much better shape than what I took off. I'll let that glue cure properly, trim off all this excess around here. So I'll trim off these bits. Once they're trimmed off, I will then start to apply the next lot of foam. Now chances are, I think I might put just a little bit of foam in the centre here that is, it's less dense than this, but it's not as soft as the final foam that I'm going to put on. What I don't want is to have an uncomfortable bit of foam. Motorbikes, these are quite tricky. They need to be quite thin. You can't have a massive motor, well you can, but on some seats they're just a bit strange. But the trouble with a thin bit of foam is it's got to be quite dense, otherwise you go straight through onto the hard seat pan, and that's the last thing you want to happen. So sometimes just layering them with gradually softer foam just kind of gives you the stability, the comfort, and also they're not too bulky. The top layer of foam is quite a soft foam. It's quite high quality foam, and it's got quite a lot of spring to it, so it gives you a bit more comfort, whereas sitting on something like this would be hard after a while. That's why you layer it with different foams. I'll leave a link in the description to where I get my foam from. You can just order online. So this is the foam that I'm going to put in the middle. So this is quite a firm-ish foam, not overly firm, but firm. And I'm just going to place it in this kind of area here where your bum would go. I just need to shape that now a little bit more. And then once it's the correct shape, I will again bevel the edges. Check it again. Okay, I need to bevel more of this front edge here. I'm just going to draw a line where I want that to go. I'm putting it on wet just because it's easier to remove it if it's in the wrong position if the glue is still a little bit wet. I think we're fine with that. To come off there and come round there. So with this bit here at the front, I'm probably just going to make a piece in to actually make this a little bit bigger, this front edge here, and then what I'll do is I'll shape it afterwards. So probably something a little bit like that, just to give that a little bit more protrusion. Or will I? You know what? I'm not sure yet. It all depends. When the cover's on, this bit here won't really be noticeable. I've done it just because the owner said he wanted this bit at the front to actually be quite proud, but he wanted a lot of comfort in the middle. So it's one of those things you have to kind of do what you think's best. It's not always easier when you haven't got the bag here to put the seat on and to check. I don't want it to be too big. It makes making the cover a bit hard. So I'll trim off the bits now. I'm just going to see which way this went. Whether that was the front or that was the back. I think that was probably the front. Have a look. Yeah, that was the front. Or was it? Bit hard to tell now he's chopped the whole thing down. That was probably the front. In fact, I don't even think this cover was off this seat. No, this cover wasn't off this seat, so it's probably irrelevant. That's probably better on the back than the front. You don't want that actually. It's all soft.
Hello, stranger.
Long time no see.
Indeed, how are you?
Yeah, fine. You?
Keeping busy? Yeah.
Yeah, keeping busy.
YouTube's blowing up then?
Yeah. Now that I've done all the foam, what I need to do next is I need to take the cover apart that I've been supplied by the customer. Now the cover that I've been supplied didn't come off this seat, I don't think. In fact, I very much doubt it did. So I need to take it apart. I'll offer up the top section here. I need to mark on the foam where that's going to fit, and then I can pattern the rest of it and make it fit. Hopefully. Not saying hopefully, it will fit. I'll make it fit somehow. But we'll see what we can do. So it's just unpicking the cover now. I've now sewn all the pieces together. I now need to attach it, so I'm just going to use staples. Now, fiberglass isn't the easiest thing to staple to. So we're going to see whether I can staple to this fiberglass. I may be able to, I may not. If not, then I'm going to have to come up with a different idea. Maybe I will glue it. But I'm going to give it a go and see what happens. I'll just try a staple, just to see if the staples will go in. Sometimes it does in fiberglass, sometimes it doesn't. Nope. So that was the answer to that one. So I'm not going to be able to staple this cover to the fiberglass. So I'm going to have to glue it. So I'm going to start by just gluing this back edge first, get that into position, then I'll stretch it forwards, glue the front edge, and I'll start to work on the sides. So luckily this vinyl has a hell of a lot of stretch in it. I'm just going to work around . There we go, it's glued. Just go for us.